sorry to tell you. It's
when
worse
you said
than
40%.
We are adding.
When I heard that, I was out of my mind, like, oh my gosh, if I was overdrawing on my bank account like that, they'd be at my door. And we're just letting this happen. So when we talk about it, I think we have to use really hard numbers to say, this is what it's costing, this is what we're, and this is here's the money we're getting in from taxes, and we're overdrawing.
We are overdrawing, and our overdraft is growing $3 billion a day.
And how can people not say, you just said it, the entitlements, there will be nothing left of us, no one's going to be paying at all. We will be Europe.
Well, I agree with you. We need to be saying that. Send me to Washington and I'll say it there for you. Yes, ma'am.
Colin's rebuttal.
I can't comment. I'm just here to watch. I do enjoy these Republican events.
I'm sure when he was getting ready to go into politics, he dreamed of going to all Republican events. Yes, sir.
Well, I've got an observation and a question for you. So it seems to me that one of the big problems we have is our political system is out of touch with reality. So we send people to Washington, we send people to represent us, and they suddenly get into this club where they pass laws, they pass regulations on the rest of us, and they don't have to live with the conclusion or with the results of their votes, with the results of their decisions. So you've given a lot of good examples. I love your fire and that you have some real world experience as opposed to being a lifetime politician. How can we, what's the first step? What are the next steps to actually stop that? Because the risk is you go in and you start drinking the Kool-Aid, and now you're on the bandwagon, you're on the gravy train. What's the first thing you would cut as far as a benefit of a politician to bring them in touch with reality so that they live under the same rules we all live under?
I think it's inexcusable that Congress people get a guaranteed defined benefit pension plan, and that pension needs to go away now. It needs to be a 401k like everybody else in the private sector, and that should be non-controversial to cut it. I'm asking you to fire Jared Polis. I'm asking you to hold him accountable. We have to do that as the voters in our district. We have to hold whomever our representative is. And I would ask you right back, hold me accountable. When I come back, say, Eric, you are off base on this, or Eric, you better shape up or we're going to fire you too. We need to elect people who are from the private sector, who take that with them, who don't value their re-election above all, because that's why you get this dysfunction. It's people who put their re-election above everything. And thanks so much for your question about benefits and things applying to Congress.
With 50% of the people not working, how do you propose to get anything done if you are?
Well, I don't think we have 50% not working.
Excuse me, not paying taxes. What I meant to say. Excuse me, not paying taxes.
You know, thank you for that question. We have only around half of Americans pay income tax, and a lot of the other half receive government benefits. And so this creates a dynamic where there's naturally an inclination for people to vote for more for themselves and take from other people. And that's what the Founding Fathers were trying to prevent, by the way, by having a government of limited responsibility. You know, some candidates carry around a pocket constitution, at least they used to. I have a Constitution app. On it is Article 1, Section 8, the limited powers. We should be using that. I view that as the job description of the job that I'm applying for. That's the enumerated powers of Congress. But how do we really get things done? How do we move away from this half pay, half take? That's the real question. And I think the real answer is we have to have an economy that provides better opportunity than dependency. We have to have an economy that provides better opportunity than dependency. We have to free the economy. We have to free the private sector. We have to get regulation off. We have to get rid of the punitive nature of taxes. We have to stop punishing success. That's how we change it. We change it culturally and through policy. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
I still don't understand how you go about doing it or accomplishing it, because these things are in place, and with that many people on takes, so to speak.
Well, I didn't say it was going to be easy, but how you do it in specific policy is you do things like the EARN Act that move you in that direction, things that are appropriate and that are crafted to get support from across the aisle. what you can't do is go and say, my way or the highway. You can't go there with, you know, some voters have called it be a pitchfork guy. You have to be there. And I can tell you something I've learned from business. If you negotiate a deal and you get everything you want, all that means is you're not going to get paid at the end of the project. So what you have to do is you have to be prepared. You have to support things that move you in the right direction, even if they're not perfect. You have to find that consensus. We have to get away from this where the purpose of the session is to set up talking points for the next election. Yeah, Ellen.
Part of the issue I see, and I have not heard anybody talk about this yet, who's running for Congress, is that it seems to me that the founding fathers of the Constitution intended that Congress be the purse strings and that they be the legislators, not the President of the United States. Why are more congressmen not standing up and saying, an executive order is not your privilege, pushing things through groups like the EPA is not your privilege. Congress is supposed to set law. He is supposed to execute what we the people tell you, our representatives, we want passed. How can we get Congressmen to stand up and have a backbone and talk about this issue?
Well, I can't tell you what's in the head of other candidates or other congresspeople, but I think that hopefully I made a step in the right direction by saying that major regulations have to be ratified by the Congress. I think that, I agree with you, Alan, and that the Founding Fathers did not envision the Congress passing vague laws and leaving the rest to the executive branch. Even 2,000-page vague laws. And by the way, if they were full of good ideas, it wouldn't be 2,000 pages, it'd be 210-page bills, so Congress could take credit for it 200 times. But it's about that vagueness, and that's also what makes the oversight function so difficult. If you have such a broad envelope that you're trying to manage the executive branch in, they have to go pretty far out of it before oversight kicks in. So I think what you really need is you need to have legislators, and I hope you'll be this in the State House too, who understand that setting law is the legislative call. The legislative and the executive branch is called that because it executes the laws, not clarifies and defines them. I agree with you, but it's really we have an exciting time when people are understanding the wisdom of the Founding Fathers and their constitutional design, and hopefully we'll have a lot of new congresspeople who understand it. Yes, ma'am.
It was okay for you know who I call, what I call it, to give his so-called czars, which are nothing but corrupt political appointees, jobs they can't qualify for. We have no need for them to go into office, pay them an outrageous salary. But then he criticizes the Supreme Court because they're not elected officials. Get rid of the czars, we don't need them.
I'd like to follow up with that about the SARS. When we get a Republican in office, is it going to be, as for the president, is it going to be possible to pull back from all these czars that are already in place? Can we dismantle the system where there's a cut?
Well, President Obama did not invent the czar. I'm sorry? Oh, the question is, when we have a Republican in the White House next year, can we roll back the czars? And to be fair, President Obama did not invent the concept of the czar. I don't know when that started, but
He was more enthusiastic about it.
he has radically expanded it, and it's always been become troublesome when they transformed that role from someone who was sort of a super advisor who would aggregate information from the agencies for the president and transform that into someone who would actually have authority over. The Constitution provides that senior officers of the government should be Senate confirmed, and normally through statute, the Congress has decided which jobs need to be Senate confirmed, and I would support a law clarifying